It's amazing how people love the woman who won't take any shit from anyone until they realize that she won't take any shit from them either. Hi, this is Coach MK, and this is the Morning Mantra.
Hi, my name is MK Fleming. I'm a run coach based in Denver, Colorado. But this isn't a podcast about running exactly. Don't tell my clients, but we're never really talking about the running. When you know a craptastic event is coming, it helps to have a mantra to keep you centered and focused as you move through it. You don't have to be an athlete to be #coached and loved by Coach MK. And if you are here, then you are #winning at life.
Today's mantra is, your point. Your point. Recently, my husband and I made new friends. Making connection like this as an adult is so rare, you guys. Oh my gosh, when you're grown up and you have family, the stars truly have to align to make new friends. The husbands need to get along, the wives need to get along, the kids need to at least not hate each other, and both families need to not be totally horrified at how the other lives. It really is a tall order. Winning! So when it happened, I didn't see it coming. I never do. Someone told a horrifying story of corporate decision-making and incompetence, and I said, "You better live forever, Alex." The reply was immediate. "Corporate America? Psh, you never last. Keep your mouth shut? Oh, forget it." This guy had known me for about 30 minutes. We'd been discussing his industry, which oddly intersects with mine. I thought the conversation had gone well. I managed to display my knowledge and engage him without impressing strong opinions, contradicting him or his ideas, or insulting his company in any way. I thought I was winning. Yet somehow, despite all of this, every aspect of my personality, the things that I don't have to button up anymore, the things that I never managed to button up well when I was in corporate America, all of those facets were on full display. Lose. No one heard it as that verbal punch landed directly in my feelings, striking me all the way to my core fears. Because you see, it's so deeply embedded in our culture that women must be silent and agreeable. So obviously, I never would have made it in corporate America. It's a good thing I'm a woman and I could get pregnant. Obviously, there's no way to button up all this MK-ness. There's no space where it'd be tight enough that my brains could cancel it all out. I mean, how good or how competent? It is just not possible to be smart enough to cancel out all of this. There's just too much of it. Obviously, I must know this because I'm 40 fucking years old. And I've probably heard it before. And since I'm in on the joke, because there's no way I wouldn't be, that makes the joke funny, right? Right? The problem here is that the butt of the joke, it isn't corporate America. It's me. The butt of the joke had been corporate America, and then that had been made explicitly clear. I would have been laughing along. Everyone at the table knew that my transition to stay-at-home mom wasn't entirely voluntary. They knew the story of me becoming a runner, that it's a story rooted in trauma and economic instability. We'd covered all of that in getting to know each other. Yet somehow those facts about me carried no meaning. I was loud. Somehow they picked up on that. I was opinionated. Somehow they picked up on that, even though I hadn't expressed any opinions. Yet somehow I wasn't loud enough to be heard. I didn't speak clearly enough to be understood. And if I point it out, then I'm the problem. I'm self-aware, you guys. I know which parts of me deviate from societal norms in ways that don't benefit me. The parts of me that are very much viewed as a liability. I may be a strong-willed woman. I might have a huge personality, and sure, of course, I'm difficult. It's hard to manipulate me. But I have not in recent years knowingly looked at another person and laughed at what they can't do. It's cruel. I'm not perfect and I have blind spots, But when I am forced to look at those blind spots, I don't deny their existence. All of this flashes through my brain in milliseconds, because if anyone catches that look, if I have anything other than a perfect poker face, if they guess it all, that I have hurt feelings in this moment, if I don't go with it, then I ruin the flow, which reinforces the joke. Humorless bitch. No sense of humor. So sensitive. God. It's too bad Alex has to live with that. So what did I do? I laughed. The husbands get along. I don't mind his wife. Our kids got along. And they aren't horrified at how we parent our 4 children compared to their 2. And that's a big deal, you guys. Everything changes when you go from one-on-one to zone defense, and that difference can be horrifying to some. We've been there before. Wouldn't bring it up if we hadn't. Harmony means more than my hurt feelings, and this slight wasn't intentional. So as I've done numerous times in my life that no one has ever noticed or given me credit for, I assessed the situation, value harmony over my hurt, made everyone around me comfortable, and kept my thoughts to myself. Later that night, though, I burst. I told my husband how not funny the situation was and how he needs to speak up next time, because nothing he does is viewed as difficult. He can defend me, and those times I can't effectively defend myself. He tried to explain that the guy meant no harm, and side note, if any dudes are listening to this, if you ever catch yourself doing that, trying to explain what someone else meant, you are wrong. You are missing the point. Shut up. After my husband finished, I looked at him and I said, "Your point?" My husband's lovely. He is wonderful. He would never knowingly hurt me or sit by quietly while I'm being hurt. He was shocked to not realize how hurtful that comment was, how a joke isn't funny when I'm the butt of it, how he hadn't seen it happen. He hadn't noticed how I had to value my hurt feelings over his embarrassment just to have this conversation so that I didn't feel this way in his presence ever again. That was hard. It made me think back to that inane course on difficult conversations that was required in my graduate studies, how the powers that be clearly had no idea how many difficult conversations the women around them had to navigate every day, how much thought had to be put into simple questions that could have huge consequences, because getting out from under the pain in the ass label is impossible at the doctor, in your relationships, in your friendships, and at work. How I got a C in that class, because unsurprisingly, I don't know how to become invisible enough, how to speak so that my disagreement won't fall on male ears with the force of a whip. How no one hears what I do say, or notices what I don't say, no matter how loud I get. And how the few times a manager made me feel safe enough to speak, invited me to speak, and then punished me for doing exactly that. I bet we have that in common, listener. I bet you don't get credit for the times you keep your mouth shut, even if you aren't a flaming loudmouth liability like me. I bet in a lot of the rooms where you go, you have more social skills than anyone around you. You have to. Your survival's contingent upon it. My husband says that I'm misunderstood, that I'm free in ways so many people aren't, and how that's a really cool and attractive thing. And I tell him how the price of that freedom is still a cage that I have to live in. I live in fear of having to go back to corporate America for health insurance the way my mom did, of raising 4 kids alone, of having to, once again, button up all this MKness and fail. To be continually reminded that I don't fit, that I don't belong, that I was somehow born a failure, and to go back where I came from since I can't be anywhere else. It's depressing. I try not to let my fears rule my life, just our estate planning. But that low-level anxiety burns 24/7. And I am tired of burning myself up so that no one else sees it. My trauma doesn't have to be on full display, but it shouldn't be the butt of a joke. So, the mantra. In those moments when you talk yourself out of speaking up because standing up for yourself could hurt someone else, hear my voice in the back of your head screaming, "Your point!" When your admission of hurt is met with the response of, "I didn't mean it, you're too sensitive," hear my voice once more saying, "Your point!" You are not flawed for having feelings, and we will never win by being silent. Because you see, no one can give us credit for work they don't know we're doing.
You are coached, you are loved, and you are winning at life. And you are definitely winning at life if you subscribe to my Nuzzlenut newsletter, follow me on Facebook, or follow me on Instagram. Feel free to do all three. Don't forget, if you need a mantra, you can always ask for one at info@coachedandloved.com. Again, that's email info, INFO, @coachedandloved.com.